Okay, we're going to do a couple of different practices here. We're going to take a look at how to scale something up to size and how to transfer an image from one size to another. So to start with, we've got a few different basic material needs. We've got our thumbnail study. We've got a 6B pencil, a harder pencil, this is an H pencil, a mechanical pencil, a Sharpie, a fine line magic marker, a eraser, a straight edge, and some Scotch tape. In addition, we've also got another piece of paper that we're going to be transferring to at a larger size, and tracing paper. So these are the things that you'll need to do this process. So I'm going to start with a small grid overlay for our drawing. Gridding off here, this is just a little bit different, but this has 6 intervals this way, numbered 1 through 6, and 5 intervals this way, labeled A through E, so that each square has its separate designation, A1, E6, and that's what we'll be transferring to the other page. So once this is drawn out, I don't necessarily want to mess that up. I'm going to use another piece of tracing paper, put that over the top, then use a little bit of Scotch tape to just hold things in position, and draw off my basic lines. Normally I would do this with a sharp pencil, but I'm going to be using a marker so you can see it a little bit more clearly. I want to scale this up to this sheet of paper here. Not quite the full size. I'm going to scale it up to 10 by 12 in size. And so while my original grid had 1/2 inch squares, this grid is now 2-inch squares. And again, I'm going to have my underlying grid, which is the 2-inch squares, and then my overlay, which is where my image will actually go. The basic process of transferring this information is relatively straightforward. What we do is we look at each square in our original grid and try to make sure that proportionally we keep each square here the same. So I'm going to start over on the right-hand side, and the first square, A6, has a line which is a vertical line coming very close to the grid line. So the vertical line goes down how far? Into B6, almost halfway, right about to here. And then goes at an angle, about like this, to again about the halfway point, which is about here, and then down to right about there. So it looks like an angle like this. And then this line continues into the B4 box, almost halfway once again, which is right about to here. Okay, so now we should have our drawing scaled up, traced off, hopefully still accurate, and ready to transfer to our drawing paper, which is a rather thick Bristol board. Nice sturdy board. So I want to center my drawing and position it. So how do I get this drawing onto my board? Well, a nice easy way to do that is to use graphite, pencil graphite, to transfer from one surface to another. This is a two-step process, and what I'm going to do is take my 6B pencil and just lay down some graphite where I know the line is, making sure that I've got plenty of graphite here. So we've already made a little bit of a transfer just in doing that, unintentional, but now that we've got the 6B graphite on the back of our drawing, again, we can lay that down. We might want to position it so it doesn't move. But what I'd recommend at this point is using a hard pencil. I'm using an H pencil with a pretty good point on it. Let me sharpen it up. And now I will precisely go over my lines, at least those that I've put the 6B graphite on the other side. And I'm not going to take the whole drawing through, but we can see the lines are precisely transferred to the other surface. These are 6B pencil lines, the graphite from the 6B pencil, which means they can be pretty easily erased. So if you want to move things around afterwards, you can. But you've got your design transferred to your page, scaled up accurately at the size and scale you want it. Now, a couple of things that you might encounter, a couple little tricks. Let's say you wanted to draw your drawing up to a very specific proportion. Here I've got a line which is 9 7/8 long. And this is exactly the width that I need for this project, for this design. For whatever reason, it has to be exactly this size. Well, it's easy to do this scaling up when it's easily divisible by 5 and 6. That's easy enough. But how do we divide 9 7/8 by our, what was it originally, 6 intervals? 6 intervals. How many times does 6 go into 9 7/8? You know, there's a reason I became an artist, and that was to avoid math. So I'm not going to have to deal with the math. I'm just going to take a shortcut. Let me see what I can do. 9 7/8. Well, what's the next highest number up from 9 7/8? Which is easily divisible by 6. I would say 12 inches. Let me see what I can do here. 12 inches. If I put my ruler, this dirty old ruler, on the 0 mark, and then rotate up to 12 inches. Where's my 12 inches? Whoops, I need to go a little bit higher with my line. Let's see, 12-inch mark. There it is, right there, 12 inches. And then I know I need a mark at every 2 inches. Here's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, I'm going to take those lines and drop them vertically. I've got a gridded cutting board behind me here, that's convenient. And now I've divided that weird measurement of 9 7/8 into 6 even intervals. If I want to find my intervals vertically, I can do it this way. Now that I know what that measurement is, I'm just going to mark right on my ruler with a Sharpie. Right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. And mark those intervals off here. Project those across horizontally. And then I'll have my grid at whatever measurement that turned out to be, but I know it's the same proportion. The other way to double check the proportion is to take your initial size here, which was 2.5 by 3. I'm going to mark out the 2.5 by 3 rectangle. There's the 3. There's the 2.5. Here's my original credit card size thumbnail drawing, 2.5 by 3. And then again, starting at this 0, 0 coordinate, I'm going to angle up through this corner, and anywhere along this line I can stop and project a line horizontally and vertically and know that I'm in the same proportion as this. So if I take this up to my vertical line and project that across horizontally, that will give me the corresponding proportion. And if I continue my marks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a little bit off, but that gives me my total grid. And then I could once again look at each shape within that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, D, E, and scale up to this size. So, some basic things, but a couple of little hints and clues hopefully to help you get started. Gridding things off is not always necessary when you're working small like this, but there will come times when maybe you're working on a big project, maybe you're doing a mural and you're working on the side of a building. You want to make sure that you're not accidentally doing B3 where you should be doing C4. That can make a big problem. So make sure you scale everything off, grid everything off, and that way you know it's going to add up properly to the big finished picture.